All right, that's Elvis Koskei there. Thank you very much for the discussions. But let's now have another discussion here in studio with the people really at the helm of the conversation and the negotiations. Joining me right now in studio is Seth Panyako. He's the Secretary General of the Nurses Union. Thank you very much for joining us. We also have John B. joining us from our City Center studio. He is...
I will not engage him. I will march out of studio.
Pardon?
I will not engage him. I'll march out of studio.
Well, you're engaging me.
I will not respond to anything from John B.
Okay, well, let's...
I have to engage government, not that hooligan.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
You told me earlier.
No, it's fine. We will just continue the conversation separately.
I don't have time for that.
We will engage separately. Maybe you could just start by talking to us about this meeting today with the national government. How different is it going to be from the other meetings that we've seen happening through this process?
Yeah, it's going to be different because the national government is ideally an employer on our own. Mm-hmm. We have the nurses who work within the national government institutions. That is Madare National Hospital, mm-hmm. spinal injury, mm-hmm. Port Health. You know, at Port right now, the Port Health has been closed. Mm-hmm. And in fact, international flights coming to this country are posing a great health risk to the people of Kenya. Mm-hmm. Because if there's a problem there are no nurses to contain it. Mm-hmm. We have all Port Health that in Mombasa, even the Port Health around our borders, the health services which are managed by nurses have been grounded. So we have a CBA that we are supposed to sign with the national government as an employer of those employees. The negotiation that took place between the national government and the county governments. National government was represented, county governments were represented, mm-hmm. and the union was represented. Mm-hmm. And we did this under the scope that the Constitution of Kenya, Article 235, requires that there shall be uniform norms and standards across the country. Mm-hmm. You cannot have one nurse earning maybe 20,000 shillings a year, and is an enrolled nurse, and you have another one earning maybe 10,000. It must be equal work for equal value and for equal remuneration. Mm-hmm. So it's in that spirit that we said the national government and the county government and the union sit on the table mm-hmm. and come up with a document, but ultimately those documents were to be signed separately. The national government were to sign their CBA with us, and the county governments were to sign their CBA mm-hmm. with us. Mm-hmm.
So let's also talk about the place of SRC in this whole conversation. They say that they're still not comfortable with the monies that are being asked in that CBA.
SRC, I'm telling you, is a very incompetent political outfit that is there to serve the interests of the political class. You remember when they refused to increase salaries for members of parliament? They were threatened that it will be removed from the constitution. They accepted. They also increased for senators. They did the same for county assemblies. You see that they are saying SRC has to issue a no objection letter. Mm-hmm. When you look at the constitution of Kenya, the SRC is only supposed to advise and not now to purport that it is the one which is going to be objecting and accepting. It is Serem who is doing it. It's not SRC. Mm-hmm. It is purely Sarah Serem. It is not SRC.
But she is SRC.
She is SRC.
She is at the
Why am
top.
I insisting mm-hmm. that it is Sarah Serem? Sarah Serem is advancing her personal interest. He is trying to support John B. John B is her relative. She's a brother, she's a sister-in-law to John B. So she's using her position to fight the nurses union. Let me give you an example. We are asking for her job evaluation, which I have said from the beginning, it was a sham. It was a waste of public fund. She says a nurse should be graded at B3, a nurse with a certificate. Then when you look at the CPA for the teachers, you haven't seen on the papers. Mm-hmm. Job group G is now obsolete. Teachers are now entering at B5, teachers with a certificate. So when she insists that nurses should be at B3, she's not actually doing it honestly. She's doing it so that my leadership cannot sign a CPA with the county government so that nurses can maybe try to throw us out and bring her brother-in-law John B to take over the union. That is what she's doing. Otherwise, if she's honest, she should be coming here and telling the public why she's saying a certificate teacher should be up at B5, while a certificate nurse should be up at band B3. When you look at Moi Rifaro, she approved a CPA for Kuzeia, Kenya Union of Domestic, Hotel and Allied Workers Union, which agreed that Moi Rifaro, because it's a state corporation, their house allowance will be pegged at the Nairobi rates. Mm-hmm. And that CPA was signed and it has been implemented. When she comes to the CPA for the Nurses Union, she says it has to be at the regional rates, at the rural rates. You see, this is double standard.
All right. Let's talk also really about the contents of this CBA. What really is the base, is the most contentious issue about the CBA? Just leaving out the drama with the SRC.
According to us, there's no anything which is contentious because the negotiating team, which was the county public service boards, which ideally everybody else has sidelined from this conversation, cleverly, so that they don't come and tell the world whether we agreed or not. There is no dispute between the union and the employer. The employer has agreed with us. The national government has agreed with us. The problem is with Sarah Serem, not SRC, because she sits down there and does letters without even convening the commission.
But let's talk about, I mean, it's been 3 weeks. This strike has been there for 3 weeks. Kenyans are suffering. What then is the way forward with this? Where is this meeting today going to take this country?
I can tell you for free, if the CBA is not going to be signed both by the national government and the county governments, and the one for the Moi referral is registered in court, we are in for a serious battle. I'm not going to be here sitting every year, every month, strikes. I'm not here to be calling strikes every day. We want to resolve this thing, and we want to have at least 5 years strike-free nation. Because once that CPA is registered, I don't think there will be any major reason it can cause industrial disharmony. So as far as I'm concerned, within the employer, the Public Service Commission, on behalf of the county public service, on behalf of the county governments, and the Ministry of Health on behalf of the Public Service Commission, we have no dispute. Even Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital Board, we signed an agreement with them, so we have no dispute with them.
So
the problem is SRC
so you're saying that,
and some cartels.
So you're saying that the county, the Council of Governors, the national government and the union are all at par?
It's true. I'm telling you those things you had Nonok saying. Are you still seeing him say? He now has facts. Now we are speaking on the same line. Most of the governors I've spoken to have said they're also frustrated. They can't even hire some of the specialists they want. Like you want, for example, an engineer whom you don't have in your account. And this engineer happens to be maybe working in the private sector or is working even in Kenya, maybe in the army or somewhere. And you want to bring this engineer from maybe that public institution, maybe the army, and you want to bring it to county government so that it can serve the people. And you want this engineer to come with the terms and conditions of service because he's still serving the public in the army. Sarah Serem tells you when you take him from the army and you want to bring the county government as an engineer, you pay low rates. You know, it's irresponsible. Every employer within the public sector is not happy with SRC.
So let's talk about the way forward, because really it has been 3 weeks, like I mentioned earlier. Where is this going to go then?
Let me tell you, before I come to where we are going, I want to tell you that SRC has exhibited the highest degree of biasness against the nurses and the nurses union. I've only given you 2 examples of Moi Referral and Nairobi. I want to give you an example of health risk allowance. The health risk allowance, SRC approved 20,000 for doctors. That means was 400 increase. Doctors were getting 5,000. Now 400 increase. So when we are negotiating the CPA, we agreed because nurses are the people who are highly susceptible to nosocomial infections in the hospitals. And research has been done and has been proven that nurses are 30 times more to get these nosocomial infections as opposed to any other health worker. So we said we will get 30 times more than any other. So if the doctors are getting 20, we are supposed to get 30 times more, times 20. But we said since the doctors were increased 400%, we also want that 400%. And the negotiating team saw sense in that, and we agreed. That is how it came to 15,400. Serem tells you a doctor will get 20,000, a nurse cannot get 15,400. Honestly, this is discrimination, this is biasness, this is unfairness. And I don't think the commission is sitting. I think Sarah Serem is sitting in a toilet somewhere, writing this circulars.
Let's not bring insults in studio. Let's just continue to focus on the issue. And like I mentioned, so after this meeting, what next, Seth? As the Secretary General, what are you hoping to get from this meeting today? And is SRC going to be part of it?
I can't. No, we cannot engage SRC. It's not an employer. The Constitution of the people of Kenya did not give SRC any powers to engage trade unions. When you look at the Constitution of Kenya, Article 41, Clause 5, says every employer and every trade union, they have a right to a collective bargaining agreement. So we are engaging Ministry of Health on behalf, the Ministry of Health is engaging us on behalf of the Public Service Commission. So we are expecting that we'll be able to restructure things. If there's any issue, then we sign the CPA and register it in court. Without that happening, I can assure you, nurses are out for a serious fight.
Let's talk about the infighting that we saw play out, for the last couple of days, and especially on Friday. Are you concerned that this is going to sort of like slow the process when the chair and the Secretary General are not on the same page?
First, the words you have said, the chair and the Secretary General, are not true. I don't want you to lower myself to that level. I'm a General Secretary. I lead a team of 15 people, and we have only one errant person that we have so far expelled from the union leadership for obvious reasons. John B. has been, and I've said before, and it's in the media, I've said before that John B is being used by a county pension fund to scuttle this process, because the nurses met in Kisumu last year and they looked at all the pension schemes available and they chose on lab fund as we wait for the one that's going to be brought in by an act of parliament. And there were reasons why the nurses did that. But so Jose Akili has filed many cases. You had John B say he removed him from office. All those cases filed in court, about 5 of them are being sponsored by Jose Akili. So he is the one fighting this union to remove this leadership, myself and the entire National Executive Council, and even the branch leadership, so that he can take over the union, so that the union can assist him to take over Lab Trust, which is a public trust, and give it to CPF, which is his private company. And that I'm not going to accept. So he's the one who is controlling Jacqueline Mogeni. He's the one who has been controlling even Ongwae and Ranguma. And I'm not afraid. They can go to court if they want. I have evidence. If I dare them to go to court, we meet in court.
Okay, because we have John B here, I'd like to hear John B's response to what you have just mentioned. John B, thank you very much. Just give me a few minutes, Seth. John B, what can you say about the allegations that are being made here in studio, that you are being used to stall this process?
Thank you, Linda. Number 2, thank you again for hosting me in your studio so that I can put the record straight. It is quite unfortunate that the General Secretary can perpetuate lies, telling Kenyan lies. First, I am and still the National Chairman of Kenyan National Union of Nurses. Remember last Friday, I showed your colleagues from the 4th Estate while I was having my meeting at railway clubs, the latest extract dated 8 June 2017, signed and given by the Registrar of Trade Unions, confirming me as the national chairman. So anything else being battled outside there is just but a hoax. I want to confirm again that this is a political strike. Remember, all of us know that one, Mr. Seth Panyako ventured into politics. He is an ODM candidate for a senatorial position in Kakamega, and therefore, when he was calling this strike, he wanted to build his political profile, which actually was waning down there. Unfortunately, or fortunately, this strike actually has made him lose ground, especially in Kakamega, and that is why he's backtracking now, that he's actually suspending his political campaigns to deal with the matter of the nurses. I want to confirm that this is not the matter of the nurses. He's actually fighting me as a person because of my stand as a Kenyan, as a leader. I must have my own stand so that anything that comes from the General Secretary should not be the position of the nurses. Is now maligning government officials, and it is quite unfortunate, especially for one Sarah Serem, SRC chairperson, who is now being maligned that she is my relative. Linda, I want to tell you one thing. When SRC were going around the country, and before they went around the country for their job evaluation, it is none other than the General Secretary who moved to court to try and block SRC from taking their job evaluation exercise, saying that that was not within their mandate, that it was the mandate of the Public Service Commission, which is very true. It is the mandate of the Public Service Commission. But what came out, allow me, I allowed him actually to talk, so allow me to talk. So what came out of that job evaluation ruling was that the judges accepted or acknowledged that indeed it was not SRC mandate, but they were doing it only for their own internal mechanisms.
It's okay. Let's just hear
after we lost the case, one Seth Panyako.
All right.
After the job evaluation, one Seth Panyako wrote to the prime secretaries of the entire country, telling them that they should not appear.
I have to interrupt you. Let's go back to the most important thing right now. What is your position about this strike and where the process is?
Out of your studio. I am not interested in listening to this nonsense. He has no powers to speak for the
union. I think,
union.
Linda, you are being unfair to me. Allow me to state my position. Why we are there. He's spoken about the banding that we have been placed. It is a problem of our own making that the General Secretary never allowed nurses to appear before the Sarah Serem team when they were conducting their job evaluation. So when the report came out and placed the nurses where they are, it is unfortunate that it is a problem of our own making, which was created by the General Secretary. Now he wants to blame his weakness on some other people. Okay, we are on strike, and I've said it's a political strike. For one, there was no resolution made by the National Executive Council.
What do you mean it's a political strike?
Union. There was no resolution made. This is a political rhetoric. And if you can allow me to speak,
I think
honestly
we're not talking
kept quiet
honestly. I
when my
have no time for
counterpart
this
was
man
speaking.
here. You
Okay.
are
What
too
we are
much
saying
out of
is
studio.
that,
I will go. I'm not interested in this kind of nonsense.
Okay.
I
John
want to
B.
insist
This
John
man,
B.
that this is a political
yeah, I'll
strike,
just leave now. You
that
can
there
continue.
was no
Okay.
structures of the
We'll
organs
have
or
to.
organs
We'll
of
have
the
to.
union
We'll
that
have
sat
to.
and
John B. will have
gave
to
out.
pause that conversation
I'm
there.
not going to allow to listen to this nonsense
Just
here.
have a seat. Just have a seat.
Is
Okay.
it because of
John
the
B,
Peter
if
Truth
you-
that is waking up? Let him go if you want to go.
Okay, John B. We'll get back to you in a few moments. Let me just wind up with my guest here in studio, Seth. So Seth, let's.
People, when you invite someone in studio, you are supposed to inform him professionally that he's going to have someone else in studio.
My
you cannot
brother
come
will
here
face it more.
So-
and
Not
ambush me when you have not prepared me that I'm going to have someone in studio.
But
because
both
some
of
of them,
you
let me
are
tell you, Linda.
officials of the
Wait, Linda.
Nurses Union.
Linda, wait first. You cannot. You've even disturbed me.
No.
What I
I
wanted
mean,
to say has
you are
already
both
gone.
officials of the Nurses
No,
Union.
no.
You're both
Let me tell
representing
you,
this. You
let
are
me-
at the helm of this
No,
union.
let me tell
Kenyans
you, Linda.
are suffering.
Linda,
we need
Linda,
answers.
listen
apart
first.
from the infighting.
Linda,
It's Betty.
this man, Betty, cannot bring any solution. I'm the general secretary. I'm the spokesperson of the union. You see, he's talking about politics of Kakamega. What does he know in politics? This man is useless. There's nothing he knows. He knows nothing about political matters. What does he know?
But-
Let me tell you, let us not trivialize these serious issues of national
This is
importance.
not- this is not
when you bring me on
trivializing.
studio, bring someone from the county
But this
government,
is, but
bring
both,
somebody
but,
from
but
the
both
Ministry of Health.
you are officials of the
No,
Nurses
forget about
Union.
that. He has been expelled from the union leadership. He's not there. Forget about it.
What's the way out then?
Please, let us not dwell on this issue of Johnny B. He's
What's the
nothing.
way out? Because listen,
let me tell you,
Kenyans
Linda.
are
Let me tell
suffering.
you, Linda. Don't be compromised to start wasting time discussing issues and bringing irrelevant fellows who know nothing.
But the
Let me tell you,
infighting is
if you
affecting the process
No, it is
of
not.
negotiations.
It is not. It is not.
Yes,
this
it
is
is.
one person. A union is have national executive council of 14 people. Why do you want me to waste time engaging somebody who is not going to add any value to the union?
What's your solution as we wind up? What's your solution?
The
for the way
solution can
forward?
never be with this fool.
What is your solution?
The
as Seth
solution
Panyako?
is very simple. The CPA has to be signed, registered in court, and we wait implementation in July. When you want to bring me in studio with government officials so that we can discuss and know the position of the union and the position of the government as an employer.
But
When
like
you
I
bring
mentioned-
people like B,
like I mentioned,
you don't
you're
add
both-
value.
Like I mentioned earlier, you're both officials of
No,
the
forget
of the
about both.
nurses.
I'm the spokesperson of the union. Why do you bring that fool?
Okay.
Let
No,
me
we
tell you.
won't-
No.
we won't have insults here in
Let
studio.
us first get things right.
We will not have
If John
insults
B
in
has to go to studio on behalf of the union, I must give him written permission. That is the Labor Relations Act Section 2. So you cannot come here and bring a government puppet that you want me to
Okay.
engage, a government puppet.
So that's why
this
we'll
man
wrap up.
useless who want to make others poor
All
when
right,
they retire.
so we will wrap up because we don't want to.
It is very wrong. I think if this is how we're going to operate, we must have some professionalism in our work.
So
If you
will
call
you-
me in studio and you want to bring somebody else, let me know in advance.
Okay, fine. So you're saying that you're the spokesperson of the nurses in this country.
It is like
You're
asking.
meeting- you're meeting
It is like
the-
asking. It is like asking. Is Uhuru Kenyatta the president of this republic?
Yes, we're not questioning the legitimacy of your office, but we're asking you about that meeting with the national government officials today. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, coming to that. Now that's important. We can now respond to that. We are meeting with the national government today at 2 p.m. and we are hoping that we are going to look at the issues, to look at the CBA, and actually draw a signing matrix as well as a registration and implementation matrix. And I'm very sure that we are going to have a very productive engagement today with the Ministry of Health. That one I can tell you.
All right. Thank you very much, Seth Panyako, for your time. He is the Secretary General for the Kenya National Union of Nurses. All the best in the meeting this afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll take a break. We'll be coming back and continue.